We are live. Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. Welcome to the Sunday Prog stream, where, as you can see, I have put together an all-star cast today as we break down what turned out to be a really good year in music, a great year in prog. I see a lot of people are already here in the comments section here. They're excited about this subject, and I'm a little bit late because I just finished shooting up an episode with the great Pete Bardo over there on Sea of Tranquility. That'll be airing later on tonight, so look out for that. But anyway, I've got Kevin from Prog Radio. Kevin, what's up, bro?
Not much. Just ready for this.
I'm excited. Wayne, it's been a long time, sir. Haven't seen you forever, but here he is from Alberta. It's Wayne from Pocket Full of Heap, and we've got a couple other Canadians on board with us. This is wild. Cody from Brockway Vinyl Vice. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing excellent. Happy to be back here with you guys today.
Oh, man. And also from Ontario. Oh, man, this is just amazing. I am so happy because I didn't think you were going to be well enough to join us here today. It's none other than Notes Reviews. Notes, what's going on, Michael?
Feeling better, but, we'll see. I might be muting myself.
Yeah. And Kyle was going to be your replacement. You notice we got 7 and all the promo stuff said 6 pundits picked their top records. Well, Kyle was good enough to join us. Kyle, what's going on, my friend? Can you hear us?
Sorry, I had myself muted. I've had a little technical difficulties.
You were in a trance there.
Kevin and Wayne.
Apparently, we do only have 6 pundits.
Yeah, no, it's just
6 pundits and Kyle.
Magic number 7.
I don't mind it. It's all good. Last but not least, filling out the bottom square, all the way from California, it's Nathan on Shuffle, appearing on the Prog Corner for like the 3rd or 4th time. How you doing, Nathan?
Doing really good. Really excited to be here.
This is going to be a good show. Our good buddy Scott from Mythologic, he couldn't be here today. He's in the studio or something. You know how he is. Jeff
He's in the chat room.
Welcome. Hey, look, Elliot Rogers is here.
Yeah, hey, ageless.
Morris, Gotro. We're going to have him back on the show one of these days.
Yeah.
He was a good one.
Takeover.
He was awesome. But, man, this is an all-star cast. I'm so excited. We got music fan from Ohio who's popping up on all the live streams these days. But I have no idea who that is, but they're from Ohio. If I feel like I should know who they are, right, Kevin? It just seems like really weird. But we're doing the top albums of 2024. I asked you guys to pick your top 3, some of which I know, like Kevin did his whole countdown on Prog Radio, right? Notes Reviews. They've done like several different lists, like the prog and the metal, right? Notes, you did something like that. And then you did a whole amalgamated one with pop and prog and metal all together. And Nathan has his own little tournament that he does. So I kind of know where you guys stand, but I have no idea about everybody else. So I'm going to kind of mix it up between the ones that I know and the ones I don't. And I'm going to start with Cody because I have no idea where Cody stands here. I have no idea, Cody, what your top 3 albums for 2024 are. And I know the Peanut Gallery is excited. They want to know, too.
All right. So, well, when you brought it up to me, you said the top 3 albums and one that deserves more love.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give an honorable mention to Steve Hackett's Circus and the Night Whale. It didn't make my top 3, but you'll see why in a minute. Here's a record. Well, we'll do the top 3, the one that needs more love after.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go. Actually, I pulled out 4 because I couldn't resist myself. So we got to do.
What am I supposed to do with these youngins, Kevin? They just don't follow the rules, do they?
We got to get one of those hooks where you.
Like the Apollo.
Gospel and Testament. This new album is fantastic, and I was just listening to it again yesterday, sort of in preparation for this, and it just, I'm solid in keeping this in my top 4. I think it's fantastic. The whole concept and the idea of the whole concept and the narration from Ian Anderson, it's just it's so fresh, and it sounds like Opeth, but at the same time, it's like unlike anything they've done before. They brought back the growls, but they did it to accentuate the concept of the father who's fallen, who's passed away, and he's pissed off. He's pissed off, and only one of his kids gets all of his earnings in his life. But if you haven't heard the record yet, I'd recommend you follow along with the lyrics.
They only had one kid. The rest of them were all bastards. He didn't. They were all like. He only had one legitimate heir, right? The daughter. So.
Yeah.
She gets it all.
It was the daughter with polio, and she got everything.
Yeah.
But I think this is a fantastic album. The playing is off the charts on this. Having Ian Anderson's flute there is really cool too, and him sort of guiding you through some of the songs. It's just like, yeah, I love it. I love it.
I think Ian's presence on there is absolutely critical to get old grizzly farts like me that hate growls, that hate the death metal vocals, the Cookie Monster. But it's got Ian Anderson. But Ian's there, so it gives it like that seal of approval, right? It gives it that classic prog bona fide. It's like, okay, I can maybe suffer through some of these death growls. I think his presence on that album absolutely critical.
And I think
that was the headline: Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull with Opeth.
Yep.
That's all people needed to know.
I think another thing about it too is that the growls here, like when he does it, it's done with taste, you know, and he finds this. Some people just don't like that style at all, and that's totally respectable. That's totally fine.
Cody selling the growl.
But when he does it, it's not like he does it to excess. He does it to just kind of get a point across, and it works for me. I love all phases of Opeth, and this is like a marriage of all of their records, going back to Blackwater Park right up to In Cauda Venenum. It's like it's all there. I could literally go on all day about Opeth, so I'm just going to...
Please don't.
Considering it wasn't even in your top 3.
All right, next up. It's Big Train, The Likes of Us. This record is fantastic. It blew me away when I first heard it. I loved it so much that I played it on I played some of the tracks from it on one of my first Prog Radio shows, I think. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Yep.
Yeah. Coming up 1 year since then. Wow.
Yeah.
But I think this album is just fantastic. Of course, you have the nice epic 20-minute Beneath the Masts. Alberto Brevin fits in really nicely with the group here. Nick DiVirgilio's drumming. You know, that guy is he's like the Phil Collins of this generation, where he can sit in with any project, and he's just fantastic at everything he does. I've seen him with Mr. Big when they came to Toronto back in May. I've seen him with Steve Hackett about 2 years ago. And now, listening to him play with all these different bands shows what a musical chameleon he is. And but the point is, this album is really good. Every song is just fantastic. It kind of gives Genesis vibes, but it doesn't at all feel derivative. I mean, the cover is very similar to like the art style of Selling England by the Pound, with this type of painting, but it's just beautiful, and the music is just fantastic. I love
Jerry Ewing, man, I love her artwork. That's Jerry Ewing, the editor of Prog Magazine's sister, right?
Yeah. Next up is an album that everyone loves. I sure hope, because it's brilliant. It's the new. No one likes the cover. We know that.
Is going to be so happy right now.
Scott McRae
You're going to start getting yes packages in the mail there, Cody.
Cody, you recommended the new Big Train, and I bought it at your store early this year. I owe you. Yeah, he is a great story, because he lives out in Port Dover, about half an hour from my record store, Second Chance Records. And he came in one day and he goes, I heard about you on the Prog Corner. He's like, Caledonia, what, Ontario? No way. Pretty cool. But John Anderson and the Band Geeks, True, it is a fantastic album. I love it so much. Tara and I absolutely fell in love with, each other, but this album. And our song is actually Thank God.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Now, I
love that last song. Yeah, I think it's great. Some people didn't like that track. They were dead wrong. like Jeff Shilka saying the cover for True is great. We know. How can you say I'm a fanboy without saying I'm a fanboy? By saying you love the cover of True.
I've come to accept it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you something that Tara got me for Christmas. It's like this little iPhone playing screen, but it's a picture of us, and the song is Thank God. Like this. And it comes to like when you scrub to 2:05 in the song, it's like a really beautiful lyric that meant a lot to her. And so this was just one of the most thoughtful gifts I ever saw, that I ever got. And this picture is actually of us at an Opeth concert, so there's that. But very nice.
We've got a drinking game going on here, apparently.
Dead wrong.
Don't worry, music fan from Ohio. Wayne's turn's coming up soon enough.
I'm gonna jump ship before we get to my number one, and I'm gonna go for a record that isn't prog, but you asked for a record that needs to get more love, and I don't think anyone here is gonna mention it. So it's the new one from Judas Priest, Invisible Shield. It's a fantastic album. The band sounds in top form. You got Richie Faulkner being heavily part of the writing process on this, and it really breathes new life into a classic band. And it's very inspiring to see them all at this age and still sounding like they're 25. We saw them live promoting this album, and they were still fantastic live. If you're a heavy metal fan at all and you like Judas Priest, go see them because they're amazing, and this album is fantastic. So it needs more love.
If you're a fan of music, go see Judas Priest. That album's great. I agree.
I know it won't get mentioned here because like this was mostly meant for just prog stuff, but I'm bending the rules here a little bit today, Scott. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, it's the prog corner. There are no rules.
Now going back for full-on prog. My number one is a record that just came out a few weeks ago, and I would have expected this to be number one, but then I heard this and went, oh my beep, word that I can't say here. It's the brand new one from Neil Morse, No Hill for a Climber. This thing is absolutely brilliant. When like the first night I put this on, I was driving for work and I put it on, and the album ended, and I was like, well, that was absolutely amazing. Had to go turn it back on again and listen to it like twice more. It was fantastic. And I listened to it like 5 times in a period of like 2-3 days. It's a fantastic record. If you haven't heard this, I love Neil's music. It's very uplifting. It's very interesting. It's very inspiring. And, you know, I'm not a Christian. I'm a spiritual guy myself, but I don't mind the Christianity in his lyrics. He's singing what he believes, and it's very happy. It's very uplifting. It's very nice, and the music is absolutely killer.
That Burn It Down section of the title track when it's going, it won't quit. That's the best thing I've heard all year. That section is just, oh man, I love it so much. I just go back and play that like little 5-minute section over and over and over. It's amazing.
It's awesome, and it's 28 minutes just goes by like that. It's a fantastic album. No Hill is a 2024 version of V. Yeah, that's a great comparison because I love V as well. Maybe that's why I took to this one so much. But
somebody compared it to Kaleidoscope. Was that you, Notes?
Yeah.
Kaleidoscope, another great.
I hadn't thought about that before I did my review, and I'm like, damn it, he's right.
Transatlantic. I love Transatlantic, but yeah, this album has just absolutely blown my mind. And I made Tara listen to it. I'm like, you have to listen to it. You have to hear this. And so we put it on, and she's like, yeah, this is amazing. It's like, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's number one.
There you go.
Neil Morse. He puts out 2 records this year, forms a brand new band.
3.
And comes out with 3 brand new bands. But
he put out 3 albums. You're forgetting about Late Bloomer.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He puts out 3 albums, and he comes back with this brand new project, The Resonance, and it's as good as anything he's ever done, maybe even better. You know, he's amazing. I love it.
Good fantastic call. Album. Time for the hook to come out, Kevin.
Drinking game number 2.
That was outstanding, Cody. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're awesome. But you know what? Now let's hear from a Canadian that actually knows what he's talking about. We are talking about none other than the guy with the muted microphone right now. Michael from Notes Reviews. Their channel is on fire. Welcome back to the Prog Corner. Didn't think you were going to be here today, but it is my absolute honor to have Michael here, and they're going to break down their top 3 albums and one surprise, one that needs more love, one that's out in left field. Your list sure had a bunch of those.
I do, yeah. So thanks. I'll see if my voice can hold out because, as many people know, I've been very sick this December. So I think, like Cody, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to have 4. But I'm going to really quickly go through because 2 of them are more pop, 2 of them are very prog. So I wanted to give kind of both. But I think I'm going to start off with the album that I think needs more love, especially in the prog community. I'm not sure if a lot of people have heard it, but it's the Jimmy Keegan self-titled album.
Yeah, you have that in your ranking, and I have not heard that. Well, Jimmy, I know these people.
Come on,
why didn't he send me the album?
I don't know.
What's going on here?
Yeah, so it took all the fun things that I love about the newer Spock's Beard stuff, like within the last 2 albums, like the Obliviation, Particle, and Floor Noise, and took a lot of the fun aspects of those records and really expanded upon that. And I'm not a big fan of those 2 Spock's Beard albums, but there were moments on that album that I really liked, and Jimmy Keegan just kind of concentrated on that. So I feel like, we give a lot of love to Rio with his Myth of the Monster Fist. We gave a lot of love to a lot of other solo individuals, but I just feel like Jimmy didn't get the love this year. So I'm waving his flag out there, especially in the prog community, because I feel like that's his community, and I just feel like we just kind of snubbed him. So I feel like that's yeah. So if you haven't listened to it, it's his self-titled debut album. Give it a listen. It's a really good time. So my 2 more proggy, because I think people want to hear more about that.
You can talk about whatever you want to talk
about. So one of my favorite records of this year, probably has my favorite songs of the year, is Kairos with their album Mannequin. Just a perfect blending of my favorite aspects of the 80s kind of new wave, synth wave kind of energy, but using the production styles of the modern day. Just absolutely brilliant, lots of fun. And the album that got the #1 spot on my prog and metal was Elmo with their Reconciliation. Now, I know some people on this call might take that as a little bit of a jagged pill because there's quite a bit of growling, quite a bit of screaming on it. But if you give it a chance, much like Opeth's Last Will and Testament, it's a very rewarding record. These guys are doing Haken better than Haken's currently doing. And it's a one-man band. It's one guy that's doing the whole thing. Elmo is...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think he's getting...
Because I just listened to this new album because you and Nathan and Ian were talking about it. So I checked it out. I didn't know that was one cat.
Yeah. It's kind of like
the toe hider deal.
Yeah, like toe hider or Versa. It's like one-man operation. That last track, that's 20 minutes, is like if they took Crystallized from Haken and then just expanded upon it, without it being a complete derivative. If you liked No Spoon from last year or the Anchor It or some of those albums from last year, then this one is just as rewarding, if not more so in my mind. So highly recommend checking that one out. I'm going to introduce some pop because this year pop has been huge for me.
It was Brat Summer.
It was a Brat Summer, man. It really was. So my #2 record this year was one. It's the perfect prog metaphor, right? When I first listened to it, I'm like, it's fine. It didn't really give me exactly what I wanted, but the more I listened to it, the more I grew to appreciate it, and it made my #2 spot, and that's Imaginal Disc by Magdalena Bay. Their debut album of Mercutio World was brilliant, and I feel like they improved upon everything from that record. The 2 tracks on there, Watching TV and oh, excuse me, my voice is starting to give out. And Cry For Me are just masterpieces. If you were like me, alive and very impressionable around the Y2K era, it brings in a lot of those aesthetics, but not necessarily like the musical styles of like the 98 to about 2001, but like IMAX, the see-through, very transparent but opaque kind of computers. It brings in that kind of aesthetic and plays in that wheelhouse, and it's brilliant. I absolutely love that one. And finally, my number one album of the year, for those that don't know, it's The Last Dinner Party with Prelude to Ecstasy. Just brilliant. I believe the myth, the origin story is that these 5 girls met at a Black Midi concert and decided to form a band. And from there, they're writing songs that like infuse a lot of the girl pop from like the 90s, but also the experimentation of the 80s. So like Kate Bush and Tori Amos, but then with like Sixpence None the Richer and more of a catchy vibe. So these 2 bands, both Magdalena Bay and The Last Dinner Party, I feel are doing more for the prog community in terms of experimentation, moving the music forward, really playing with the genres and blending different styles together to create something new and exciting.
Hey, so, Kevin, are you playing any of The Last Dinner Party on Prog Radio?
Not yet. I haven't heard it. I'll have to go check it out.
Go and check it out.
Kate Bush meets Queen.
Yeah, well, we play Tori. We play Kate.
Yeah, I think you'd like it.
Yeah, Portrait of a Dead Girl, Feminine Urge, Caesar on a TV. All these tracks are like instant classics. And I'm like super excited to see where this band goes from here because they're still very young. And the fact that they're putting out this type of music at this stage of their career is just mind-boggling.
Hey, Scott's bowing out. Hey, happy New Year to you, Scott G. Davis. Yep. What a great year Mythologic had, and I'm happy that we were all, part of bringing him to the, to the forefront in the prog world. It makes my heart so happy when I see that the Prog Corner has such impact on people's lives. People are moving around the world just to, be with their new loved ones because of the Prog Corner. And, we get new superstars in the prog world because of the Prog Corner. I'm just going to pat myself on the back and take it out, Michael.
Do it.
What else you got for us, man? I love that Last Dinner Party. And you know what? I noticed there was no Taylor on your list.
I haven't put out my disappointments list. Hopefully that's coming out tomorrow. And she's kind of top of the list, unfortunately. Yeah. The Tortured
Taylor and Nightwish.
It really it didn't do anything for me. And
yeah, I'm kind of there with you.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a good album, but it's not a great album.
Correct. I would agree to that.
Yeah. I want to comment on this and say I liked the album, but I was cheesed off about the way it was released. I'm a Taylor Swift fan too. And the fact that we got the CD, it came out, I'm listening to it, and then she goes, "Oh, but there's a whole extra album."
But wait, there's more.
I'm like, what? Like, we just bought your CD, and and now she's released the whole anthology 6 months later. But it's like, shouldn't that be a bonus for the people who like to physically pay for your media? I don't know.
Jeff Shilk is getting all personal.
She's not worth 1.6 billion for nothing, Cody.
Oh, I got all of her other records. Like, I'm in the same boat as Scott.
Her net worth 1.6 billion. She does stuff like that. She's smart.
Yeah. I will say, if you were disappointed with Taylor's record, there's a lot of really great kind of like side projects, or I guess other artists that are doing a very Taylor thing, like Lizzie McAlpine's record of Older and Clario's album of Charmed. Both of those really emanate what she was doing with the Folklore and Evermore, but like continues that. So if you were kind of disappointed with Midnights and the Tortured Poets department, I would check out Lizzie McAlpine.
Notes, every time you and I get together, it always devolves, and we're the only 2 prog guys probably that are in love with the Taylor Swift. Watch out for the Swifties. Absolutely. You see, Jana knows what she knows
where it's at.
And you guys can all cry and complain in the peanut gallery all you want. All I'm seeing is the numbers going up since Michael and I started talking about Taylor Swift.
There you go.
Your pipe and smoke it.
Scott,
What else you got for us, Mike? Was that it?
Video on Clickbait Week or something?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I like that. I like that. What else you got for us, Michael?
I think, I mean, that was it. Those were my 4, because I snuck in another one, and my, go and check it out record. So, yeah.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Well done. Thank you so much. I know you haven't been feeling well, so it's just awesome that you're here and that you were able to, put a different spin on stuff, because, we can like Taylor Swift and we can like Opeth, it's just music, guys. That's all it is.
That's right. I got every Taylor Swift album in my unit right here, and I'm not ashamed.
You and me both.
You're fired, Cody.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we didn't know what Cody was going to pick. I knew what Notes was going to pick, but you know what? I have no idea what Kyle's got in store for us. Kevin, what do you think? Is Kyle going to give us any prog at all, or is he just going to go off on these, weird tangents here?
He's going to have some prog in there.
He better have some prog for us.
He'll have some surprises, though.
Yeah, because I don't swim the direct prog line that maybe I did once 20 years ago or something. So, all right, so I'll do my, album that needs more mention or honorable mentions or whatever, number 4. I have the little-known project, this guy named Stuart Stallman, his album from the band SJS. It's called A Sequence of Mistakes. This kind of came out of nowhere. I think I found out about it on Instagram. But if you like sort of like Anathema, Mew, and especially like Pink Floyd and like Giant Sky, Scott, this completely floored me in terms of its like very trippy, atmospheric kind of space rock almost. The guitar textures are dreamy as hell on this thing.
Speaking of which, did Giant Sky break up?
No, I believe what happened with Giant Sky is that he's focusing on Giant Sky. He's got one more record, but the related project is like done, which I'm spacing on.
What, Soup?
Soup, yeah. It's like basically all his like work, his effort being put into that project.
Okay. So I got it wrong again, is what you're trying to tell me. Thanks a lot, Kyle. You're fired.
The last time I heard something with that was probably 9 months ago, so I could be off on that, but that's the last thing I remember. But anyway, yeah, SJS, A Sequence of Mistakes. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those cases where you just check out something suggested to you and you're like, I've never heard of this band. How is this good? Is this really this good? And I went back to it frequently. And I love it when that happens. When I'm more actually drawn to, at times, things I'm not familiar with or things I'm not expecting, as opposed to, you got the new album from Dream Theater, you're expecting something great, and it's just, it's Dream Theater. Whereas you don't know who SJS is, and if it's good, it means more to you, at least means more to me. So, going to the official countdown, number 3, Pepe Deluxe's Comic Sonics. Yeah.
I knew that'd be on there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fanboy of this band.
You think?
And they're not capital P prog, of course. It's kind of my MO. But it's very, like, sort of eclectic, progressive, retro-sounding, a lot of loops, a lot of influences, a lot of classic rock influences. And it's a fun record. It has a lot of intervals, but it has a lot of sort of earworms to go with that. And I love the two guys out of Finland, James Malmstrom and Paul Malmstrom and James Spectrum. But yeah, Comic Sonics, I think, is better than their last record. It's the best record since Queen of the Wave. So that's number 3. Number 2, I know Nathan's a fan of this band. Ben Sinister, mostly all great things. Well, again, it's not necessarily capital P prog. It's more closer to like classic rock influenced music. It's very poppy, very power poppy. But they have little proggy bits in there, and I'm a sucker for that. And it's just filled with songs. They had released like 10 out of the 12 tracks back in 2023, early in 2024. So I had known all the songs, but hearing it all together, I think it sort of did more for me than I expected, even though, you want to listen to advanced singles. Does everyone listen to advanced singles here? Some people don't.
Sometimes.
I have a friend who just uses to, but for some reason it really worked. And I'm a huge, just like Pepe Deluxe, I've been a fan of this band for a long time. They're from Vancouver, British Columbia. I think they should tour with the Deer Hunter because they have a lot of Deer Hunter elements in their sound, the Deer Hunter. But yeah, that's number 2. And then number 1.
I'd like to see them tour with Deer Hunter as well.
And I actually suggested that to
I want to see Deer Hunter and the Deer
the
Hunter
bass player.
tour.
He's like, someone's been talking about the band. It's just maybe a matter of time. They've persevered. Number one, I just did the review yesterday. I just put up the review. I'm wearing the T-shirt. It's the new album it's Falling Up presents the Chilling Alpine Adventure. Falling Up is who is Falling Up? Falling Up is the project from Jesse Raborti and friends. Jesse Raborti worked with Casey Crescenzo of the Deer Hunter on this project, which was well received in 2010 for those who heard it, especially among the Deer Hunter fans. But the new album it's very cinematic, very conceptual, and I think it's some of the best songwriting Jesse and Falling Up has ever done. And the band is now going to be called the Chilling Alpine Adventure. And the title, The Chilling Alpine Adventure, actually comes from this album, which is an album that Casey Crescenzo produced called Fangs from 2009 from Falling Up. So it kind of just over the last couple of days, finally hearing it, hit me with a ton of bricks. Like, this is really good. It's really polished, very catchy at points. There's a song called Reanimation, which has this really kind of 80s groove to it. Could be like an 80s pop song almost. But think about like a concept story of some people like in a cult trying to escape from this group in the mountains. And is it, again, capital P prog? No, but it's very progressive and very artsy and atmospheric, but it's very cohesive. And I don't know, it kind of won me over. And that's kind of why I'm giving it my number one spot.
Hey, and the album cover looks really proggy. You don't have the physical copy yet, do you?
No, it just literally digital came out on Friday. So.
That album cover is really, really cool. It kind of sucks you in. It kind of looks like a prog album.
It does. So. They're definitely. And also he actually referenced Casey in the lyrics or in the Bandcamp description, just saying he's a huge inspiration. So I'm wondering if the new project, it's called the Chilling Alpine Adventure, is actually going to be like a world building thing, kind of like the Deer Hunter with Ankemeyer, with
One can only hope. That would be cool.
Here's an honorable mention. I know someone mentioned it. I got the Pure Reason Review. This is one like my top 10, 15. So there's a lot of records that came out.
Every year there's a record that I regret not having on my list. And I listened to it. It was nice. I liked it, and then I kind of put it away. Like, you got a million other albums to listen to, and then after I put my list out, everybody's like, "What about Pure Reason Revolution?" So I went back and listened to it, and it should have been on my list.
I like it more than the last two, actually.
It's so good.
I think it's less is more. I think the last two albums for me. They kind of lost the plot a little bit in that they got so into like doing those extended heavy riffs, kind of tool worship, that it lost some of the songwriting. Even though Chloe Alper's not on this record, I think they kind of toned it back down and they're more focusing on atmosphere and melody as opposed to just punchy riffs, which I love punchy riffs when they're used to some degree, but
and I think that's why I probably didn't give it enough of a chance. Is like, oh, Chloe's not there. It's like, it's not really pure. It's half a Pure Reason Revolution. So I didn't give it the chance it was deserved. But in a way,
it's Impure Reason Revolution.
Thank you. It's such a great record. It's almost like her not being there meant that they put a little bit more effort into the record. I just think it's a phenomenal album.
They had more to prove, for sure.
Yeah. Kind of, sort of. All right, well done, Kyle. I
haven't published my video like other people, and I have obviously a list I'll be coming out sometime in the next few weeks. One other album is Willow and Pathogen. I don't know if you ever listened to
Willow.
Music. That almost made my top 5. So there's a lot of great records that came out this year that you choose in the top 3, and an honorable mention. There's some stuff's not going to be included in for like the Taylor Swifts of the world.
Yeah. So now that Willow, that's a good call. I totally forgot about that album too. It's insane how much good music comes out every year, especially when I try to stay up on all the prog stuff. Kevin knows what I'm talking about. Notes knows what I'm talking about. Nathan knows what I'm talking. You try to listen to everything, and that means that some of the the mainstream stuff you just don't have as much time for as you want to. So, that's something I'm going to try to correct a little bit in 2025 as we pivot, as we turn the Prog Corner into the number 1 music channel on all of YouTube, not just the Prog Rock channel. We're going to world domination is still our goal, Kevin.
All right.
But with that in mind, the one of the people that gave me the most inspiration when I was starting out, this cat named Nathan on Shuffle, he had a channel up for about a year, and I started watching him, and I subscribed to his channel, and I have been a fan ever since. He's one of the reasons I started the Prog Corner Views, because I'm like, oh, this guy Nathan is really, really good, but maybe we need to hear from his dad. Right, so I'm kind of like the dad, right? Because remember when Neve the Prog Nerd would come on with her dad?
Yeah,
and her numbers would everyone wanted to hear from
I really
dad.
liked the video she did with her dad. Yes.
Yeah, and those were like her biggest videos. So I'm like, I'm just going to be dad. So that was kind of the whole idea behind me starting a channel. So thank you, Nathan, and thanks for being on here today. You did your top albums of 2024 in tournament style, which is something you've been doing the last couple of years. Tell everybody about that episode and how you do it a little differently than the rest of us losers that just go at number 25 and at number 24.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with a unique way to do my top list because, a lot of people kind of do it the same way. I was trying to think of something cool, but I just kind of create brackets and create this like tournament style, kind of like a Sweet 16 tournament, and just match up albums against each other and see what comes out. It's fun like that, yeah. And it's kind of cool for me because it helps me figure out what should come ahead of other albums, because it's hard to rank because I have like 30 albums that are all very close to being my favorite. So
splitting hairs.
Yeah, splitting hairs for sure. Yeah. But it was a good year of music, a lot to choose from, and it was hard to nail it down. I felt like pretty good about my final 5.
Now remind people who your number one album of 2023 was.
2023 was Moon Safari, Himmelbakken Volume 2, which came out right at the end of the year and just blew me away after a big hiatus from the band. So, but this year, what I picked, it's been talked about already as my third album of the year, is Kairos. Mannequin Notes mentioned it. I just was blown away by it. I just thought it was really cool because they blend like kind of an 80s synth pop kind of aesthetic to their prog, but there's bits that sound like, Frost and those kind of like big neo prog bands. So it's a cool blend and really creative and really bright and fun and poppy and just, kind of an addictive listen. And they released a small EP recently that kind of even adds to it and makes it even better in my mind. So just a great year for them. The second album on my list, I don't have to hold up. Hopefully it'll come soon. I did their like Kickstarter campaign or whatever. It's Dirt Poor Robins and their album Firebird, which I really loved. And it's one of those again that like, is it prog? Is it not prog? I guess. But to me, it's very much in the spirit of progressive rock because they blend different genres. They, do things a bit different. They do a lot of concept records. And it's very like cinematic and just really beautiful to listen to. They can bring stuff in from like kind of power pop or from 80s synth work on their latest one, but they can have elements of like opera and, vaudeville kind of stuff on their records also. So it's just a cool blend. And I just really like this record, and I really love the ending, the big like Firebird suite, which takes that kind of classical piece and brings it to a really epic conclusion. So one of my favorites. But my number one is Mir, Wheels Within Wheels.
Cool.
And it was a hard choice to make because I gave Mir my album of the year a few years ago. So I felt kind of bad to just like give it to the same band again. So I considered like switching it up, but I feel like I kind of had to do this because I think this album's better than their previous one. So it made sense to me to put it up there at the top. And it just really meant a lot to me, like personally in this year, because when it came out, I was, dealing with some things and, it really spoke to me emotionally. And I love their sound. I kind of like this prog with kind of a pop tinge to it that brings these like hooks and these cool catchy moments, but still has an expansive sound. And, they have like different instrumentation. They have more like classical instrumentation, like violin and viola and things like that. And great vocalists, male, female, brother, sister combo that are just both excellent, and just some beautiful soaring moments that just really captivated me. And I thought it just was really great.
It's a great record. I love how the brother-sister vocals, they kind of sing the same. They have like that same little glitchy accent, right?
Yeah.
They attack their phraseology very similarly, even though, one's a male, one's a female. So when they're singing together, it almost sounds like one person. It's incredible. Yeah. I love how they harmonize. And then having a violin and a viola player, not just as like session players, like we're going in the studio, we're going to put some strings. They're right from ground floor, man, writing the songs, helping flesh them out. They become a real integral part of the sound and the whole vibe of Mir. Yeah, that's a good call, Nathan.
They are a very tight-knit band. I mean, their music instructor who taught all these guys is in the band. So these guys have been together for a long time, not a relatively short time, but they've been together.
Yeah, that's cool. Just the whole chemistry, you can't underestimate, and all this file sharing, modern, way of making music. Every now and then, when you get a band like Moon Safari, right, dudes that grew up in the same little town, or Mir, that actually have a history together, it shows up in the final product, absolutely. And people were talking about John Anderson's True. The fact that thing was recorded after they'd hit the road for a little while. They had a little bit of chemistry. It wasn't just, sharing files left and right. And it does make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. There they are.
Those albums, Mir and the other one that you named have been very popular among like a lot of the people I frequent in the, the social circles, Nathan. So, I know I checked out Mir for the first time when you did that. You were like so high on the previous record. I really liked
Playing House. Yeah. Playing House is a good album, but this one's even better. Yeah. All right, Nathan, good job. Did you give us one one album that needed more love? Did we cover that with you?
I could do that. Yeah. Looking through my list, I was trying to find what I don't think I've seen very much people talk about. And it's a band called Isbjorg, and their album Falter Endure is one of my favorites from the year. It's it has a little bit of a poppy side to it, but lots of piano-driven music. It's, has a lot of cool vocals and just really catchy songs, but a cool prog background as well to it, and just really beautiful music. I just really appreciated that one. Just haven't seen many people talking about it.
Mm-mm.
No, I don't know what you were talking about. By the way, I was just going to ask you, what do you think the Dirt Poor Robins album compares to the previous records? Like, is it better, worse, or just different?
I like it more, I think. I mean, I love all their stuff, but there was just kind of a cool aesthetic to this one that kind of spoke to me more, that like synth pop kind of sound that I hadn't heard as much on their previous ones. But I really love Dead Horse also. So it kind of fit in that same world.
Right. Drawing from the 80s in this one, Dead Horse was drawing some of the 80s stuff. And then, of course, the retro Queen of the Night, of course, which a lot of people call it.
Hey, Nathan, is that Amscray behind you?
Yeah, it is.
Nobody's mentioned Amscray yet.
That's another good one. Yeah, that's another good one to point out.
I love that. I think it might have been Michael who first drew that to my attention. And
there was a lot of really good albums in that kind of like vein. Like Fims was really great, Amscray, Wrongbird, like they all kind of play within the same sandbox. But there was something in the water in terms of like that style of music this year.
Absolutely. And man, that Amscray hit me hard. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. But with that, we're going to go with Alberta's number one YouTuber. Yes, the best YouTuber in the entire province of Alberta, according to me. It's none other than Wayne from Pocket Full of Heap. Wayne, how was your 2024?
Oh, really interesting. Started out the year listening to some prog, then went into indie, some pop, some rock, some metal, just kind of all over the place. Just listening to all different eras of music and just kind of discovering.
Hey, so, wait a second. Notes, I believe you kind of did a little two-piece band out of Greece a dirty injustice just now, didn't you? You did. You owe those two guys an apology, man. You totally forgot what your actual number one prog album of the year was. And you just slid it under the carpet like we're not supposed to notice. I guess you did preface it by saying you're allowed to, shuffle the deck whenever you want. It's your, but yeah.
You never know.
You were on top of this, Michael.
Yeah, Juniper Fungus was just a standout. Now, it was my number 4. It was my number 4, and it if I had more time with it, it might be higher. But man, like this duo from Greece, just really like I didn't feel the same way. Like it gave me the same feels as like an Anglo-Guard, like their Hubris album from the 90s, of doing something that nobody else was doing, but infusing the spirit of prog. Yeah, if you haven't heard the Juniper Fungus with their Garden Electric.
And we love you so much, Michael, mangling every single name of every single band and bandmate. And it is Jupiter Fungus.
Yeah.
And their debut album is Garden Electric. And you can get it on Laser CD. Ken Golden's got a couple left. We've got Alex from Beer and Vinyl in the Peanut Gallery. Alex, we need to get you back on here real soon. And the great Scott Medina from Sonic Perspectives in the house all the way from Colorado. Peter Jones from the UK. Ian from BC. Of course, Morris. We're going to get Morris back on the show. I think he was a lot of fun. And
he did a great show for us of Dutch bands. Oh yeah,
that was good.
And you can catch it on streaming. Amazing stuff from Holland on that episode.
Awesome, good dude. And that's what I love about doing the Sunday Prog stream is, I like to mix it up a little bit. And I know, Wayne, you probably want to be on every episode, but that's not going to happen. We mix it up a little bit. I like having, a lot of different people on here so that when people click on Sunday, they're like, oh, look at this panel. Michael from Notes, Nathan on Shuffle, Kevin from Prog Radio. It's Cody, that drummer boy for Cody. Oh, it's Kyle. People freak out. They lose their minds when they see this greatness on the panel. And I'm talking about freaking out about the greatness in the Peanut Gallery. How about Naomi from 365 Days of Prog is joining us? We're going to get her back up on screen real soon. One of the best there ever was. Have you checked out that Iceberg of Prague? That was such a great video and doing real well. I think it's at like 40,000 views or something like that for a 3-hour video.
You've spent a lot of time.
Congratulations, Naomi. You cracked the code. You figured it out, man. That was awesome. But Wayne, I'm cutting into your time. I'm sorry, sir.
That's all good, Scott. For my album, I think that deserves a little bit more mention. Michael mentioned it. Prelude to Ecstasy by The Last Dinner Party. Absolutely love that record. All you have to do is say to an old school prog fan, has Hammond organ on it at times, and they'll walk to it. So, but getting into the top 3 of my list, this was hard because I think, Scott, you've mentioned it, is that there's not like too many, as you said, 5-star albums, but there's a lot of really good ones. And the whole margin was very thin for me. So number 3 for me is Light at the End by Mythologic.
Hey. Woo! Scott jumped off the street.
Yeah, he wasn't here to watch that.
You don't need to kowtow to him. He's not around. He won't hear this. No, he won't.
No, but it was a really good record. I remember he sent me like the album before and just started listening to it, and I'm like, wow. Like, just the musicianship on it is superb. Like, and to think like this is pretty much just like his project. He's just doing it, and
Hold on, Wayne. 1 second, man.
Yeah.
Do you think I would have Scott G. Davis on as a regular guest if he was like a bum?
No.
You're kind of insulting me now, a little bit, right? The reason we have him on is because he's not a bum, sir.
Yeah, but the more and more throughout the album that I listened and through the time I had it, the more I just fell in love with it and made me go check out parts 1 and 2. And it's really, really good. And
Well, how do you
say
rate
to anybody who hasn't,
how do you rate the 3 Mythologic albums, Wayne?
oh man, that's hard because like I just listened to the first 2, so I haven't had that amount of time with it yet to make that determination. But I definitely think I like the third one quite a lot. Just the first 2, I got to spend more time with it.
Yeah, the correct answer is 3-1-2, by the way.
Yep.
You
3,
think
1, 2. Okay.
you agree with that 3-1-2 on Mythologic?
I agree.
Yeah.
Next on my list is Melodies and Atonement by Leprous.
Nice.
Oh, fantastic.
Whoa.
Nice one. How
Oh,
did I
Love
forget that?
that record.
I'm going to leave the stream. Jeez, really?
See you, Michael.
I'm going to hear you out, Wayne. Let's defend it. Come on.
I heard Become the Night talk about this band. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll go listen to them. And it's just one of those that I looked at my Spotify, and it's one of actually my most listened to albums this year.
I like that record.
Okay. Have
Like-
you heard Leprous's past records, though?
Not too many of them. And
It suddenly
where
makes
I'll-
sense now. Okay, it suddenly
Yeah.
makes sense. I'm like, how on earth would you rate this as a high one if you... Okay, go back and listen to The Congregation, listen to Bilaterus, and listen to Cole. Like, that's your
Okay.
homework for today.
Yeah,
Also, listen to the whole
I
thing.
concur. Congregation was my entry point to
Yeah,
Leprous.
Congregation is... So
And funny, it's still my favorite by them. So
Yeah.
it's
Like
funny
me,
how the entry
Cole was
point,
the one that I liked, but
20 years from now, this is still going to be Wayne's favorite Leprous album, Michael.
Well, it's the recency bias, right? The one that you
Yeah,
get
that is.
introduced
Yeah.
to is the one. But yeah, listen to those. And also King Crow put out the best Leprous
Oh,
album this year
yeah, Opium.
by the title of
Okay.
Opium. Sorry,
Opium.
I'm stepping all over your time here. I'm going to step back.
But
That's
yeah,
what we do. We're, it's Wayne's time. We're allowed to abuse him, and we're allowed to tell him how wrong he is.
it's all good.
Wayne, continue.
Yeah, this, like, I like some of the dancey kind of poppy elements on this record. That it does have a more, I guess you'd say, commercial feel at times to it, especially like some of the stuff I listen to. But my number one album of the year is To Shoot Another Day by Rosalie Cunningham.
Nice.
Nice.
You're back in my good
Like-
books.
I never heard about Rosalie Cunningham until I heard Scott talk about her, and I listened to her first 2 records and absolutely fell in love with them. I think this is her best solo record
Yeah, it's her best solo album. Yeah,
that
she's
she's done.
got one better album than this, though. That First Person album.
I like the Desire Magic Theater.
I love that one too, man.
one's my
Person
favorite.
was so good. Oh,
Yeah.
And for just a couple honorable mentions, Dawn of Oberon by Tuzmork.
yeah.
Love that record.
Yeah.
The Follow Polaris by The Tangent.
Yeah.
It's a
Andy.
good record. And The Wolf Changes Its Fur, but Not Its Nature by Crippled Black Phoenix.
I haven't heard
Wow.
that yet.
I need to hear that too.
I
Definitely.
love them.
I like some of their early records, especially.
I love all of their records. That last one was amazing too. I like everything.
Some of the records go on for a while, Scott.
They're a
to
little
me.
longish,
Right.
yeah.
But yeah, that post rock kind of stuff with that Morricone influence sometimes really works, and I haven't heard that. Thanks for mentioning that, Wayne.
Yeah, thank you. There's a couple records that snuck up on me during the year. Like, who told me Motorcycle put out a new album this year?
Yeah.
Like that just snuck out. And luckily, it was
like on King
terrible.
Gizzard. How many albums can they
Yeah.
release every year? It's not a matter of one. It's how
Right.
they release 2 or 3.
Now, Wayne, did you have an album that you think kind of snuck under the radar, something that needs a little bit more love this year?
Yeah, I did mention Prelude to Ecstasy by The Last Dinner Party. That's a
that
good
was your,
record.
yeah.
Another one would probably be Yesterwind by Nightwish.
Oh,
I really like the new Nightwish record. It's their previous album to me was a disappointment, but this one, I can already tell.
Back in the bad books.
Michael's like, nope,
I don't
nope.
even say anything.
What
The
number
peanut
singer
gallery
are you on?
saying it for you.
Tarja's gone. Floor Jansen, isn't she gone too? How many singers have they had at Nightwish?
Too many.
Yeah,
Love their
but
good singers, doesn't matter, but
I like
Yeah,
your
I-
list, Wayne.
Nice. All right, Kevin. You know, we've reached
All right.
that little lull period in the program where I need a high energy presentation from the king of Prog Radio right here. He's going to tell you guys what the 3 best prog albums of 2024 were, and the one album that kind of slid under the radar that we need to talk about a little bit more. Take it away, Kevin.
I'll start with the ones that we need to talk a little bit more. I'm going to do 3 of those, but I'm going to do them in one slide. But I'm really only going to talk about one. We all know who the 3 tenors are: Pavarotti, Domingo, and
Yeah, exactly.
who's that third guy, right?
Exactly.
That's Unitopia, right? Sean, Mark,
Yeah.
and John Greenwood, the guitarist. He's kind of, to me, the 3 tenor of Unitopia. And he had a new solo album, his second solo album that came out called The Boy.
Did he put out 2 solo albums this year?
Not this year. I think his other one was previously,
Was it
but
last year?
The Boy was this
We're
year.
talking
Yeah.
about The Boy, right? Yeah.
The Boy, yeah.
John Greenwood.
John Greenwood.
I think of the guitarist for Radiohead.
No,
So let's see.
Dr. John Greenwood from Unitopia.
Yeah, so those were my 3 that were in my top 10 that maybe were less known. One was Volker Ant, Orion. They're a French band. Absolutely love that album. Obviously, Motion Carries, Emerald City. Everybody's kind of knowing them, but that's a great album. But then John Greenwood, The Boy. This is a 1-song concept album for 44 minutes, kind of follows the life of the boy, and I just think it's great. And it's one, everybody knows Sean, everybody knows Mark, everybody knows Unitopia. But if you like 7 Chambers, John is a big part of why 7 Chambers was as great as it was, and you'll like The Boy. So that was my ones that need a little more love.
Nice.
Here's my top 3. A couple of them have been mentioned. No Hill for a Climber, Neil Morris. So I won't spend too much time on that, but I found it brilliant. I actually think Neil has the skill for doing something that he loves and he cares about, which he's passionate about, which is his faith, and rolling it into the other thing he loves about, which is music, and selling it to the world. And people who are bothered by that, they need to get over it, because I think he does it brilliantly. I mean, can you watch Fiddler on the Roof and not be Jewish and enjoy it? I mean, you don't have to always be what the theme of a story. Do you have to be a pirate to enjoy a prog album about pirates? No. So anyway, this is a great album. Kudos to Neil. The band, you know, it's just a new infusion for him. And so I don't know, really loved it. Thought it worked great. Number 2, another no-brainer for me. Big Train, The Likes of Us. So well put together, so crafted. Just a beautifully sounding album. And then number 1 for me, this will be the one. We tend to do a surprise at our number 1 slot, and this year's no exception. This is a band from Hungary. They had their first album 40 years ago, and it was called Martian Chronicles Part 1, 40 years ago. Pretty much all the same people, very few exceptions, are still here 40 years later with Part 3 of the Martian Chronicles.
Love it.
And this is, when I heard this album, blew me away. It's
Notes didn't like it a whole lot.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't get that at all. From first listen, this to me, some albums are just crafted. And this to me is a crafted album. I think it's beautiful. I think it's 2 hours. It's 84. It's a double album. It's like 80 plus minutes long. There's not a minute of it that I don't love. It's tough to get. I've been working with them and saying, Yeah.
Finding it. You can't.
I've been working with the band and saying, hey, get it at least on Bandcamp so people can get access to it. So hopefully they will be doing that soon. But but because you can't get it now, go to YouTube and Google it or YouTube it, and you'll find. And there's they do a live version of part of the second CD, which I think is brilliant. It's like 12 minutes long, and it's like the first. Yeah, it's great. It's the first song from that second CD, and then like the second to last song. So it's kind of like a nice encapsulation of the album. It's absolutely beautiful, and I don't know. I absolutely love this album. I've been listening to it over and over. I think it's a crafted, beautiful album.
Love it.
Nice.
I love it. I concur. If I got it too late, it didn't even make my top 50. Because it was something that I got right as I was putting my list together, and it has not left my my car stereo. I've been listening to it nonstop. It's amazing. Good call, Kevin. Do you have one that you want to talk about that no one else is?
Well, again, just the three that I talked about: John Greenwood, the boy,
Dr. Johnny,
and the Volker Ant. Definitely check out that Volker Ant one.
Okay. Orion. Yeah.
French band. That's another album. I just listen to it all the time. It's a beautiful album. It's definitely a unique album.
That's Solaris album, Kevin. I think it's the same band that played at the first Nearfest, and they were known for not leaving the stage. There were stories about that, but they're kind of in the neo-prog vein. At least they were then. If it's the same band I'm thinking of. But,
well, I think with this album they kind of stayed with the roots, but the theme is AI. Yeah. So they introduce a lot of kind of high-tech sounds to it. You got the keyboard player with that voice thing and doing some cool sounds. They just do a symphony with so many instruments and voices and acoustic and drums and flute. The flute is amazing.
Where are they from? I don't know. They're from
Hungary.
Budapest.
Hungary.
Okay. Yeah.
Hungarian.
The Martian Chronicles, of course, that's a reference to Ray Bradbury.
Right. That album came out in '84.
So
real good record, man. Highly recommend it.
Loves Solaris. I know that.
Oh, there you go. But no, when I saw Kevin, you had that at number one. I was like, you know what? I can't even be mad at you because I love it that much. But anyway, I had one album that I kind of felt real bad about. I think needs more love. Kevin, you know who I'm going to put up there as the one album that needs a little bit more recognition. It's Kevin Dodson.
Oh, yeah.
And the Madrigal Project. This thing is awesome.
Very good.
Man. This thing
they were like 11 on our list.
Silverwood. It's got Adam Holzman. It's got Oliver Wakeman. Jane Getter plays guitar on here. Just a really cool record. We had him on the show not too long ago. He was a really good guest, wasn't he?
Yeah, great call on that one. And he is already working on his next one, and he's excited about it. So I can't wait to hear it.
I'm excited about it too. 2024, as we look at it in the rearview mirror. One of the things I'm going to remember, it was a great year for debut albums, right? We talked about Jupiter Fungus. Absolutely. Wow, what a great debut. Who else? We had Sycophant.
Emerald City.
We had
Emerald City.
Leaf. I'm forgetting one, man.
Emerald City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Best debut of the year was Emerald City Council Motion Carries. Fantastic record. But, I have a few records I just want to briefly shout out. The Tangents, To Follow Polaris. This had my favorite epic of the year on it. The Anachronism, just fantastic. Please, John Anderson, come on, man. How does this guy put out a record this good? Thank you, Richie. That's all I can say. Richie kicked John Anderson in the butt and said, let's put a record out like not in 30 years or 20 years. How about this year?
Was the artwork worse than Talk's artwork, Scott?
Jordy Griep. Oh, this album stole my soul, man. I just love it.
Cover looks like Nursery Crime, though. I always think it's a reference to Nursery Crime.
I love it. Yeah, the off with your head, man. Only thing missing is some croquet mallets.
Yep.
The return of Beardfish. This meant a whole lot to me. I see it behind you there, Nathan.
Oh yeah, love that one.
Good.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna exclude Jordy Griep because he's not 100% prog. I guess, kinda, sorta. So my top three goes at number 3. I'm going with Big Train, the likes of us, Alberto Brevin. They did a really smart thing here. They didn't make him the lead singer of the band. They made him one of the singers of the band. Oscar sings here. Nick sings here. So, he's just one of many voices singing. And I think that was really, really smart. This album's phenomenal. I absolutely adore it. Beneath the Mask is one of the best epic tracks of the year. Speaking of epic tracks, at number 2, it's Neil Morrison, The Resonance with No Hill for a Climber. Yeah. It's everything you want a Neil Morrison album to be. Is it cheesy? Yep. Has it got some areas that are, maybe a little trite and played out? Yep. Is it absolutely incredible and amazing in every way? Yep, it sure is. Oh, I love it in that number 1. I'm on record as saying this is the best record of the year. Obviously, it's Rituals, the story of Mr. Bogged, Part 1. I absolutely love this thing. I don't know why Ritual hit me so hard. Like, their first album I really liked, but then their second and third album, they weren't great, actually. You know what? To be honest, they weren't that good. And then in 2007, they put out that Hemulid Voluntary Band album, and I'm like, this is like the best thing I've ever heard. And then we wait 17 years, and we get something even better. Oh, Patrick Lundstrom, fantastic vocals all the way through here. I love Ritual, my favorite album of 2024. But hey, guys, this was an amazing stream. The numbers have been looking solid all the way through. Kind of shocking that once I started talking, the numbers started going down. I got to do some self-reflection about that. I'm going to have to look into the mirror long and hard to figure that one out. But anyway, boys and girls, I hope everybody had a great 2024. Kevin, did you have fun today?
Oh, we had a great time today and had a great Christmas, traveled, and it's been fun.
Oh, very, very good. Wayne, thank you so much for putting up with all my shenanigans, all my abuse for the past 12 months. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being, my sidekick through thick and thin.
Yeah, not a problem, Scott.
We love you, Scott.
I was looking for a little more than that, but that's all right. Cody's ready
well, Scott, can I make an announcement?
You may.
In 2025, I've gotten in contact with a few different people. Going to be starting a podcast where once a week we go through an album and just talk about it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nice.
And you can do a lot. Yeah. Everybody's got a podcast right now, man. If you want to be a millionaire, that's the way to go. So, I'm writing it down right here. It's written in stone. Wayne will be the next Joe Rogan. And Cody, what do you got going on, man? Thank you for all your support this past year. What do you got going on for the new year?
Of course. Well, I'm gonna be doing more drum covers. I'm gonna be going back into the YouTube channel head on. We'll be doing just talking about music the way we always have. I haven't been uploading as much just due to being busy in the last month or two, but I'll be back on it full force come January. And so go subscribe to Brockway's Vinyl Bites. I know Tara is going to be revamping her YouTube channel again, Spin in Prog, and so that'll be fun. Watch out for that. Hope to do some collabs with many or all of the people here on the panel. It'll be awesome. And I'm just excited. I just can't believe there's like 2 days left of this year. That blows my mind.
Nice. Hey, Cody, thank you for everything that you do. Kyle,
I want to say one more thing to Scott. I want to say thank you so much to being so kind to me and having me on the panel. Really, you're you have grown to mean a very lot to me. The same with Kevin, Wayne, and everyone that I've been fortunate enough to meet through the Prog Corner. You guys all are the best, and I love you all.
Building a community. That's what we do here. One soul at a time. We're saving souls from the evils of Satan and the lake of fire via the power of Prog. Absolutely. The greatest music ever recorded, ever written. Proof positive there is a God. I'm sorry. I don't care. What do you have to say about it, Kyle? What do you got going on this year?
I'm doing this series on progressive art rock, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. I'm going to be finishing that up, or at least going on a hiatus, but I actually have something in mind. I don't know if it's going to work, but I want to start doing stuff like little short. I've done some videos on social media with little songs, and it'd be interesting to be able to do that, like song of the day, or album of the day. Here's a song from it. But I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. But otherwise, no. I mean, I know my wife is gonna be running in the chains for me for some of this stuff, but I always have enjoyed coming on the stream here and getting in contact and watching all your videos and everything. So but I'm looking forward to 2025. Of course, a lot of new music coming out. One thought I also thought of is, I don't know if you want to do a first half of the decade top 10 at some point, Scott, because now we're 5 years into 2020. So.
That's right. That's a good point.
But
we should do that. That's a good topic. Actually, speaking of topics, next week, we like to do these IDs in between so that people don't, tune out. So I don't say this one. Nobody's left on the stream. But next week, we got Charlie Bramall from Ghost of the Machine. Oh, I love Charlie Bramall. He's also a member of Age of Distraction. So his voice. He's got one of the best voices in prog rock. He's going to be on here. We're going to be debuting their brand new single off their second album. The album's called Empires Must Fall, but the single is called The One, and it's amazing. We're going to be talking to Charlie. I love Charlie, and you guys should too. It's going to be awesome. Hey, Notes, what do you got going on for 2025?
My usual stuff. This next week will be kind of the final wrap-up of 2024, talking about my disappointments, surprises, albums that kind of left me cold. Moving a little bit away from music, I'm also going to talk about my favorite books that I read this year and my favorite movies that I watched in 2024. And
I like it. You should do whatever you want. I think all of us get too in our little silo, right? If you want to talk about books or movies or whatever, you should do it, and people are going to watch you, because you know what? At the end of the day, people, if they want to listen to an episode about Yes or Genesis or whatever, they've got 1,000 options on YouTube. But if they want to watch, Notes Review, they got one option. and it is all personality driven. People are watching your channel because they love you, not because they love the music you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the original idea for Notes Reviews was half music, half books, but I don't read that fast. So that's why I kind of put that in the bin pretty quickly. And then just, jumping back into the reviews of 2025, really looking forward to Steven Wilson and Dream Theater and my podcast of What a Concept, I'll probably be reaching out to many people on this list about concept records and just talking about our favorites and how great they are. So,
are you going to see Dream Theater next year in Toronto?
I am. Yeah, I think that's in March.
We should meet up. I'll be there too.
We'll see. I have a pretty intense itinerary because I have a lot of friends coming in from out of town as well. But yeah, if we can make it work, I'd love that.
That would be awesome. 2025 does promise to be a great year. You mentioned Steven Wilson. That's going to be really, really exciting. Obviously, Dream Theater, their first album with Mike Portnoy behind the kid in a long, long time. But I just got an advanced copy of the new Pattern Seeking Animals album. Have you got that, Kevin?
I did get it a couple of days ago. I listened to the first song, and I was pretty happy.
Hey, this is a weird album. The first song's good. The second song's really good. The third song's even better. Each song gets better and better. He did it in reverse.
I noticed the longer one was the second song. I noticed.
Yeah, and that's like one of the worst songs. I mean, when the epic is like one of the weaker tracks, you're doing something right. That's Pattern.
Yeah, it doesn't come out till February, so I started to listen to it. And I go, I cannot get into this right now. I got too much stuff to do, but yeah.
I'm already thinking album of the year already. It's that good. We will have John Bagel on the program in February, Kevin. I don't have a date yet.
So he's going to guest DJ for us as well. So let's get him on.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's one of the records I'm super excited about for 2025. How about you, Nathan? What are you excited about for 2025?
I'm excited about all those things. Yeah, I want to hear that Pattern Seeking Animals record. I'll have to figure out a way to get that one. But I'm excited about the new Echoing.
Before you go on, Nathan, I just want to say something before I forget it. I see it behind you. No one said squat about Frost today.
Yeah, I was surprised about that.
It is
great a good album. I wanted to rectify that. It's absolutely amazing. Life in the Wire is one of the best albums of 2024.
Yeah, it would have been in my top 5 if I had 5 choices. So yeah, I love it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Go on.
No, I just wanted to mention I'm excited about the new Echoland album coming out.
Oh yeah,
New Year's Day, like 2 albums on New Year's Day. Someone mentioned
proper double
exactly.
album.
Interesting.
So that should
and
be
that's
really cool.
streaming New Year's Day. So not only will we have a brand new track from Ghost of the Machine, which I'm telling you, I know it's just a single, and sometimes you don't like listening to singles, but you should listen to this single because it's not really totally representative of the rest of the album, so it doesn't like give anything away. So no spoiler alerts necessary there. So yeah, a lot of great music January 1st. I forgot not 1 but 2 Echoland albums coming out January 1st, and then January 5th is Sunday, 11 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be Charlie Bramall down the show. And then January 12th, let's make a management call here live on the air. Let's say we do the best of 1975. The album celebrating their 50th anniversary.
Let's go for it.
I think that'll be a fun episode. So that's January 12th. And then January 19th, I've got Davey Bandana back on the program, so that's going to be great. We're going to be talking about your favorite childhood records. He's talking about like records he was listening to in high school and stuff like that. So, I felt bad because last time we had Davey Bandana on the show, we were talking about Iron Maiden, a band he'd never heard before. And, poor Davey Bandana, he's this hippie guy. He got the beard. He's not a metalhead at all, man. So I made him listen to some metal and had him on. I felt bad, so I told him, next time you're on the show, you get to pick a topic because I kind of thrust that upon him. But that is going to be January 19th. So the Sunday Prog stream, alive and well, not going anywhere. It's the longest running live Prog Rock show on YouTube. Oh, yeah, it's so exciting. For Kevin, for Wayne, Cody, Kyle, Notes Reviews, and Nathan on Shuffle, Peace in the Middle East, Free Tibet, and God Save the King. Oh, no, Chucky's dancing with them snakes. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.